In the year 2006, Morgan Stanley ran an advertisement with a rather memorable line which said, "You must pay taxes, but there is no law that says you have to leave a tip." In other words, one should never ignore the opportunity to legally save on taxes because all said and done, the less taxes you pay, the greater is your disposable income. Now we are already 7 months into this financial year, and December, January is typically when most salaried individuals are expected to submit a tax declaration to their payroll department. This would probably make now a good time to review one's tax saving efforts and, more importantly, ensure that you're not doing any of the many mistakes we have listed in this video. Let's begin. If someone indicates to you that March is the best month to execute a tax saving plan, then my money is on that someone being a life insurance agent. The truth is, the sooner one starts their tax saving exercise, the better it is. For instance, if we invest money in our PPF account in the first month of the financial year, that is in April, then we will receive a lot more tax-free interest for the year as compared to investing the money in March. Likewise, starting early allows you the convenience of investing in an ELSS fund via the SIP route rather than having to put a large chunk of money later in the year, which can be rather cumbersome from a cash flow perspective. In fact, I have personally experienced some issues by delaying my tax saving efforts and coming closer to the deadline, which brought up issues like making errors in the application forms, selecting the wrong product, which in turn turned out to be a costly mistake, robbing me of a lakh or two in profits, investing more in tax-saving instruments than what is actually required, forgetting to invest in time, and even borrowing money on my credit card to invest, which as it turns out was a horrible idea. So the moral of the story is, don't wait until March and start your tax planning as soon as possible. If you need some help with that, access the Save Tax module on the ETMONEY app, which helps you save up to 78,000 rupees with a customized solution of ELSS, NPS, term insurance and health insurance offerings. People often assume that tax saving is only about investing money in tax saving products. And one can understand why, because much of the marketing effort is towards attracting your attention for products like ELSS, tax-saving fixed deposits, and of course insurance policies. However, good tax management can be viewed in two parts. Part 1 is investing and part 2 is spending. Since we'll be discussing a lot more on the investing bit later in this video, let's focus on the spending part. Now, our country's income tax laws allow for a number of deductions from one's taxable income for certain expenditures that one would anyways make. For instance, expenses like payment of tuition fees, health insurance premium, repayment of home loans, education loan, house rent, etc. all qualify for tax deduction. Unfortunately, many taxpayers are not aware or don't put in the time to understand these, and they end up giving away tens of thousands of their money in taxes which they could have easily saved. For instance, rent is often a substantial portion of an employee's salary or a self-employed person's expenses. The income tax laws allow a tax exemption for this under different scenarios, like when living in a rented accommodation in a particular city and even when living in one's parents' house. Likewise, in the case of a self-employed person, there are deductions available under section 80GG which can be looked at. The point is, the more prepared you are with the tax laws and the sooner you act on it, the better are your chances of maximizing your tax saving. In fact, almost all online tax filing websites have some excellent content on tax laws, so be sure to block a couple of hours and read up on the sections that are most relevant to you. Every tax-saving investment can be evaluated on 3 broad parameters. The first one is liquidity, which simply means the ease at which you can access and withdraw your money when you need it. In this regards, it is important that one has a clear understanding of the instrument's lock-in period in addition to the premature withdrawal rules, including the taxability and the penal charges. The second broad parameter when evaluating tax-saving financial products is risk. Now, some investments are inherently volatile, and these are generally the ones which have some component of equity in them. But having said this, it is also important to factor somewhere that it is this very presence of equities which allows instruments like ELSS, ULIPs, and even NPS to offer inflation-beating returns over the long run. So as an investor, one needs to ask oneself, how comfortable are you in tolerating some volatility in your portfolio in a bid to make more returns? And the third parameter one needs to consider when working with tax-saving products is, of course, taxation. Now, people generally check for tax benefits in terms of the deduction it allows. For example, a PPF or ELSS offers deduction under Section 80C, NPS offers a little more, etc. But what's equally important is to understand is the taxation of the income earned by these assets, and also how the maturity proceeds and early withdrawals will be treated from a taxation perspective. This understanding not only helps an investor zero in on the right investment product, but improves his or her post-tax returns. Now, a big problem with not having an acceptable awareness or knowledge of tax-saving instruments is the inherent inefficiency in the planning process. This inefficiency is often passed down as a legacy by our parents and other well-wishers, and many investors often end up investing in LIC policies and other small saving schemes which typically struggle to beat inflation. In other words, while you save some on the taxes part for that year, you end up wasting a lot more in potential returns on your money by investing in these products. So always try to build up your knowledge on these product options, and if you want more details on the same, then do watch our many videos on the ETMONEY YouTube channel where we have covered a lot more specifics on these instruments. Every year in the month of March, millions of Indians blindly invest in traditional life insurance plans like endowment and money-back policies to save taxes. In fact, such is the last-minute rush that life insurance companies have effectively marketed the month of March as India's tax-saving season. And should come as no surprise that this single month rakes in around 20% of the entire year's traditional life insurance policy sales. Now, from a utility perspective, these insurance cum investment plans offer very low returns and often struggle to catch up with the long-term rate of inflation, which is about 6%. Even comparatively, different studies show that these products deliver less returns than what a PPF, National Savings Certificate, or other small saving schemes offer. Additionally, these plans come with an investment commitment that runs from 10 to 20 years, and any attempts at a premature withdrawal or policy closure is met with heavy penal charges. So, high tenure plans, low liquidity, heavy surrender charges, and low returns definitely not the characteristics that an investor like you or me should be looking for. Now, if you're wondering why these products sell and who really makes money from it, one doesn't need to look beyond your friendly neighborhood insurance agent who is incentivized with big commissions for selling these policies. In numbers, a typical traditional policy like endowment or money back gets the agent a first year commission of 25 to 35% on the premium you pay, which is then followed by a trailing commission in subsequent years of about 5%. Point blank, with so many choices out there, an insurance cum investment plan should really not be your first pick in our opinion. So for instance, if you're looking for super safe instruments and safety is more important to you than returns, then there are many government-backed tax-saving instruments to choose from, which incidentally also give better returns than a traditional life insurance policy. Likewise, if inflation-beating returns is more important to you and you're okay to consume some volatility in that journey, then you can always choose from the ELSS, ULIP, or NPS options. So there's a lot that is available within the tax-saving investment category, and using simple decisioning variables like risk, liquidity, returns, and taxes, you can surely arrive at a much better option. There are many investment products that can help save taxes, but what's more important is an understanding of how they fit within your overall long-term financial goal. Now, most individuals rarely look at their investments in PPF, EPF, and other instruments as part of their overall financial portfolio. This can lead to major mistakes like what we saw just last week when one of the investors on our platform contended that he always maintains a 50-50 balance between debt and equity. But when we inquired a little further, we figured that the investor also had significant sums in his PPF account, in 4 different life insurance endowment plans, and also in fixed deposits that actually made his equity debt ratio more like 15:85 and not the 50-50 that he was assuming. In effect, this person had grossly miscalculated his asset allocation over the last 10 to 12 years and had probably lost a few lakhs in the process by thinking he was in a certain risk profile while his investments were stuck in a different risk basket. Net, tax planning investments are no different from conventional investments, and the principles we have discussed on this YouTube channel on asset allocation, rebalancing, diversification, financial planning, portfolio review, etc. are all applicable when managing tax-saving investments as well. And with this, we come to the end of this video. I sincerely hope this video will help you reflect back on how you are managing your own tax-saving activities, and you will use large parts of this content to improve your own strategy. Do subscribe, do like, and share this video. I wish you well and look forward to catching up with you next week with another insightful video. Until then.
Mutual fund investments are subject to market risks. Read all scheme-related documents carefully.